These are 4 devices that my viewers sent in because they tried to fix them, but they were unable to. And I wanted to make sure and take part in the fun, so I added a device that I tried to fix, and although it's mostly fixed, it's not totally fixed. So in this video, we're gonna see if we can fix all of them. So this is the whole story on this Xbox Series S. Pause to read if you want, but essentially the seller tried to fix this himself. They tried to replace the HDMI port, but they say they didn't get enough heat on it. So I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna get into, but it's probably not good. I did only pay 50 bucks for it, so unless it's totally destroyed, it shouldn't be too bad of a deal. Also, as I was getting ready to take these screws out, I noticed it looks like there might be some liquid damage. I'm not sure about that, but let's get these screws out, and then we can check out the inside. And here we go. No signs of liquid damage so far. That's good. Now we just gotta remove the PSU, the fan, and the heatsink. Let's cut right to the microscope shot and see if this HDMI port is the condition I think it might be in. And taking a look at Tyler's soldering work at first, it actually doesn't look too bad. But then when we get in and start looking further, we've got one solder pad that is broken away from the trace. These 3 are good. And then we've got a whole bunch of pads that have been torn off the board. So sit back and relax. I've got a bunch of circuit traces to fix. I'm gonna get this done and then we'll put it all back together and see if it works. And here we go. Did we get them all fixed? That one is good. This one's attached. That one looks good. That one, oh, I did not fix that one. I don't know why. This one looks good. That 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 one's good, that one's good. And okay, we just have this one to do. I'm not sure how I missed that one, but I did. These ones in the middle are all grounds. So those ones we don't need to do. We just got this one more left. And then we should be able to turn this thing on and see if it works. And there we go. And unless I'm missing something with that trace soldered on, this HDMI port is all fixed and ready to put back into the console so we can test it. That is, of course, after we apply the perfect amount of thermal paste. There we go. And we got it back together just enough to test. Let's see if it powers on. It does, but do we get anything on the screen? Oh, heck yeah, we do. So this one's all fixed, not a bad deal for 50 bucks. Let's move on to the next console. So next, we're gonna look at this Nintendo Switch Lite that is in interesting condition. This is what the seller said. Pause to read if you want, but essentially they tried to replace the charge port, but unfortunately removed a bunch of stuff from the motherboard because of too much heat. So let's open it up and see what it looks like on the inside. It definitely worries me that they said they removed a bunch of components from the board, because if they remove too many things, then that could be a real pain. Okay, so here's the board. Okay, the entire battery connector is gone. Okay, this is gonna be an interesting one. So they also put a bunch of parts in the box that came with this, so hopefully we have everything we need. Okay, let's inspect the rest of this. We got all sorts of stuff falling out here. Does the rest of it look good? That's the main thing I'm worried about right now. And actually, I think everything else does mostly look fine here. So let's take a look at this board under a microscope. So here we go. We definitely need a new USB-C port. The good news is that it looks like none of these pads have been damaged. That's actually great news. The battery connector has been definitely removed from the board. This ribbon cable connector is not in great shape, but it actually looks like it should still work. I don't see anything else too important on this side of the board. Maybe it's the other side that things were removed from. Okay, we got this here. This guy's definitely out of place. Oh yeah, we got some stuff over here. This guy, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff here. This was actually I'm not sure what happened here. Okay, yeah, there's definitely some problems here. Oh, I just found a major issue. That's called popcorning. There you go. You can really see it there. You can see when I push down, this whole layer has been delaminated from the board, and that most of the time makes it so the board just won't work. Yeah, I'm not sure how much time I want to put into this with this popcorn like this. Let me see if there's any other damage. This whole layer right here, it's hard to see on camera. There we go. This whole layer is also popcorned. So unfortunately, this board is just toast and there's just no way to fix it. So, I mean, I'm gonna keep it around. There's a lot of really good parts on this, but unfortunately, this one's not gonna be fixable. Let's move on to the next device. And next we have another Xbox Series S from CJ. He got scammed for a non-working Xbox Series S. The console turns on, but the HDMI port was badly damaged. He attempted to replace it himself, but failed. Oh, and also, nothing is screwed together. Thanks for the hint, CJ. There's the HDMI port. This was just kind of stuffed in here, but as far as I can tell, no major issues. I mean, except for that HDMI port, holy cow, that was definitely damaged. Oh, we got like a major screwdriver slippage right here. I don't know if I can get that all the way from here, all the way down there. All right, and looking at this line, it starts right here. Definitely no damage so far. That's the good news. All fine so far. Yep, we're okay. Okay, so that's all fine. Just want to check damage around the mounting posts, or the holes for the mounting post for the clamp. Make sure there's no damage there, and I don't see any damage there. All right, now for the fun part. Firstly, this is the bottom of the HDMI port. And you can see somebody was trying to add solder to get this port off, but was not successful. Oh boy. Oh, look at that. Why do you guys hate me so much? I'm not sure what was going on here. This is all scratched up, but this is all just like all of those pads are torn off. Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna get this HDMI port off so then we can have a better look at this area and see exactly what's going on. I mean, I think I can already see what's going on, but let's just check it out a little better. I'm gonna be using my hot air soldering station to heat this all up until the port falls out, and then we can inspect it. And just as I suspected, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pads that have been torn off of this board. So here we go again, and we got a bunch of circuit traces to fix. I'm not actually going to show this whole process this time. You guys have just seen me do it, but I'm going to get this repair done, and then I'll show you the result, and then we'll see if it works after that. I can definitely see why somebody just sold this on eBay, probably as untested, and obviously somebody has tried to repair this. Multiple people have tried to repair this. This is pretty typical of eBay repair consoles. But enough complaining, it's time to get to work. And after the repairs are complete, that's what it looks like. Not necessarily my prettiest work, but I think that's totally gonna get this working. Let's get it installed and see if it does. And we've got it plugged in enough to test. It does power on, but do we get anything on the screen? Come on, that was so much work. Black screen. Yeah, so the second Xbox Series X is fixed. Let's have a look at this Nintendo 2DS XL. And pause to read if you want the whole story, but essentially L bought this off of eBay with a damaged volume slider, tried to fix it, but unfortunately after soldering in a replacement, it wouldn't work. So let's open it up and see what's going on. Let's see what happens when we try to charge it. We get a very faint charge light. It's weird that it's faint like that. Maybe it's just the angle. Okay, now let's see if it powers on with plugged in. Nope, nothing. Okay, let's take it apart and see what's going on. Okay, and here's our first look inside. Volume slider looks decent. I have to take a little closer look, but really doesn't look too bad so far. So right now I'm just kind of checking over the board to see if there's anything that I can see crazy that's going on. And I don't see anything so far that looks like it would cause this sort of a problem. So next we need to remove the battery and the battery kind of carrier assembly here so we can take a look at this charge port and then the circuitry under here along with the power button. Now Nintendo uses some decently strong adhesive for this battery. There we go. This one's been taken apart before, I can tell. Let's just check the voltage in the battery real quick. And we have 3.692. This should be a 3.7 volt battery, so it definitely is low. I don't think that's enough for it to not turn on, but that's a pretty low battery. I'm going to remove this plastic case here just so we can look at all this circuitry, but we need to charge this all the way up before we go too much further. And I don't see anything too crazy with my eyes. Let's get under a microscope and check it out closer. And starting over here near the charge port, let's check this fuse and make sure that fuse is good. Should hear a beep if the fuse is good. Get out of here, red cable. And it is good. Okay, no problems there. Now let's go down here and check the fuse near the battery connector. And that fuse is good as well. Let's check these chips over here. I don't see anything crazy going on over here. This is where the work was done. Looks mostly fine so far. Looked like a cracked solder joint at first, but I don't think it is. So the volume slider, I mean, the soldering looks okay for that, and I wouldn't expect that would cause this problem. Let's look over here. Now, I'm not sure if there's anything that goes here. It looks like there's a blob of solder here that maybe something has been torn off of. Clean that area up real quick. There's a little bit extra solder right here, and then there's a blob right here. So either there's a component that goes here, or this is just a blob of solder that, you know, happened to get there when they were maybe doing the repair or something. I'm not quite sure because this is on the completely other side of the board than the repair was done, but it definitely looks like there's something that should be there. So I need to compare another board on that. Now, the other thing we might need to do is flip this board over and check the other side. But I think first we should check this out and repair that if it needs to be repaired. So this is a junk board, and you can see right there, there is a missing capacitor right over here. So let's get that replaced. And then we might as well test it and see if it works. If not, we'll get the board out of this one, see if there's anything else going on. Now I'll add a little flux right here, and then remove the remnants of the old capacitor that's here. And I'll come in with the replacement capacitor. Yeah, there we go. Now with that done, let's plug it in and just see if it turns on now. So I know we do need to charge the battery, and I'll do that here in a minute, but I want to remove this board, have a look at the underside, and just see if we're missing anything else. I don't see anything obvious going on over here. Now, I think we are missing a component over here. Missing this guy with this button here. That's weird. Oh no, it's just here. They just forgot to connect it. I don't think that'll keep it from turning on, so don't think that's a problem there. This has definitely been torn off right here, this plastic piece. That also shouldn't cause a problem. Button still works fine. Okay, everything looks good here. So let's get this battery charged up. I'm gonna put this board back in and see what happens after that battery is charged. So I've let this charge overnight, so the battery is fully charged. Now, let's see if this thing happens to turn on. And here we go. Come on, give us a blue light. No. So there's multiple things that we can try to start this thing up. One is leaving the power button, holding it down for 30 seconds, and then letting go for about 10, and then pressing it again. Another is the shoulder buttons, plus the up button, plus the A button, plus the power button. I've actually already tried that, and none of that works. These are also notorious for needing all the ribbon cables to be seated correctly and just right. There can't be any problems at all. I've double checked all of the ribbon cables. I've even plugged in the camera ribbon cable. I don't think that'll make it not power on if it's not there, but I did do that just to make sure that it wouldn't be a problem. We can plug this cable in just to make sure. And yeah, same thing. So I'm just going to start testing components around the PMIC. See if we have any shorts. So if any of these components are shorted, it will beep on both sides, at least when they're configured like they're configured in this device. Okay, 0 shorts around the PMIC. I can say that I still suspect that's the issue, but unfortunately I can't confirm it until I have that new PMIC. So for now, I'm gonna have to call this unfixable. Let me know in the comment section if you wanna see a future video where I replace this PMIC and see if that's indeed what the cause of the problems on this device are. Now it's time to take a look at the device that I didn't fix the first time. Let's open it up and see what's going on. So this PlayStation 4 Pro, I actually fixed in a video quite a while back. I think I replaced or repaired like the power supply connector, but I didn't notice then that it's got a faulty USB port. So I gotta replace that. Let's get it apart and see what it's gonna take. It's been a while since I've taken one of these apart. Hopefully I can even remember how. Hey, it looks pretty nice and clean inside. That's good. Kind of double checking all my own work here. Okay, so first things first, power supply needs to come out. Now I've got to be super careful here. I believe, like I said, I think that's what I fixed in this, is the power supply connector. So I need to be super careful when taking this off. But also, we can test my work and see how good of a job I do fixing this in a way that can still be fixed in the future. Okay, with those 2 screws off, we just pull up right over here and right over here. Thinking about it, I think there's screws on the other side that hold that power supply in. So I'm gonna get all these screws off first. I told you it had been a while. There we go. Okay, now, yep, there we go. So I'm gonna use a pair of pliers. I'm gonna hold down on the part that's supposed to stay on the board while I pull up on the white part. Oh, okay, there we go, on the connector part. That wasn't too bad. Good job, Steve. Now, in order to get down to that port over here, we got to get this whole plate off and then get the entire board out. So we got a bunch of screws to take off. Of course, these cables here, got the fan connector, and then some ribbon cables over here as well. Okay, and with all those screws out, we can finally remove this top metal plate. There we go. Just like that. Got all the thermal pads, that's good. Now the clamp. And then we can see if this has the perfect amount of thermal paste. Okay. Now we can lift up from the back. Now we can inspect and see if I know how to apply the perfect amount of thermal paste. Oh, I for sure do. Look at how good that is. Just look at the perfect amount of thermal paste. That is truly amazing. This is the USB port that we need to replace. So I'm going to use a hot air soldering station to heat all of these mounting points up. until the solder is melted. Then this port will just drop out and we can install the new one. Everything's getting nice and shiny, and most of the solder is liquid. Okay, and there we go. Now I'm going to keep it nice and warm while I get my new port. Here we go. Everything's lined up, pushing it up there as hard as I can. And there we go. Now just let the solder solidify. And the port is now installed. Let's flip it over and see how we did. Here's the port that we replaced. That looks perfect. The solder looks good, nice and solid. All the joints look really good. Now let's install that one little piece of kind of metal mesh foam. Goes right there. There we go. Just like that. Then, of course, since we already have the perfect amount of thermal paste, I'm actually just going to bring some from the edge and put it back on the middle of the chip. This thermal paste is very liquid still. That's the only reason I'm going to do this. Normally I would say just put new stuff on, but this already is new stuff. I haven't used this device at all. Okay, there we go. Now we can get this thing set back into the console, put it all back together, and give it a test. Okay, all together, all plugged in. Let's see if the disk drive has power. It does. Does the console have power? It is starting up. Let's see if we get something on the screen. We should. Okay, there we go. We have that on the screen. Now let's see if the light on the controller will come on when we plug it in to the USB port in the back of the console. Make sure I plug this cable in correctly. Okay, here we go. And we get a yellow charging light. Let's see if it'll connect. It totally connects. So this PlayStation 4 Pro is all ready to go. So I was able to fix 2 of the 4 devices that viewers sent in, and then this PlayStation 4 Pro as well. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me try and fix that 2DS XL in the future, and maybe I can do that in a future video. If you want to see the first video I made of trying to fix devices that viewers sent in, I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I was able to fix them. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.